What's good YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul and welcome to another remake video. Today we're going to go ahead and remake Lil Wayne's track I Do It featuring Big Sean and Lil Baby, so let's jump right into it. First things first, let's go ahead and change our tempo to 138 beats per minute, and we're going to give ourselves an 8-bar pattern for the main melody, and I'm just going to draw in that region. And let's start off with the main sound. We're going to use a preset found under synthesizer, lead, and we're going to go to a sound that's called lyrical synth. And let's just draw in that melody pattern right now. All right, so we're going to duplicate that. We're going to duplicate this over here, except we're going to move this note one up, change up the chord. Duplicate that over, and I'm going to bring down this note here. And let's switch up this chord over here as well. All right, so there is the pattern right over there. It's gonna sound like this. All right, so that sounded a little bit off. Let's move this up. Maybe that was the culprit there. All right, next what we're gonna do here is we're gonna open up the synth, and we're gonna go ahead and just pull back the filter a little bit here. Get some of that plug back in there. I'm gonna pull the sound to just focus on oscillator or shape 2. Pull up the filter a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and just pull up the attack a little bit as well. All right, so I'm gonna take off the chorus there. Next, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go over to modulation, and we're gonna go to rotor cabinet. We're just gonna add in some movement to the sound, if you will, and we're going to bring in a preset called working musician. All right, so we got that. After the rotor, I'm just going to push up this compressor, and the delay will come after the compressor. It'll pull it up a little bit, get a little bit more delay happening. All right, next it's going to bring in a channel EQ, and I'm just going to cut off a lot of the, or not a lot, but a little bit of the low end. Take out some of that muddiness. Leave room for 808. Maybe I'll push up the Q a bit, add some resonance. All right, and lastly, I'm going to go ahead and bring in a little bit of distortion here on the sound. Let's bring in Logic's overdrive. Just to push out that sound a little bit more. All right, next let's go and create a new software instrument track, and we're going to layer up this sound with another sound. I'm going to copy this down over here. We're going to go over to our browser library tool here, and then we're going to go to synthesizer. We're going to go to strings, and then we're going to go over to Epic Synth Strings, and this is what it sounds like. Just going to open up the EQ. And we're going to do a lot of filter work here. Cut out a lot of the lows. And let's cut out some of the highs. Just gives it some space. Maybe push up the Q a little bit. Let it ring out. Pull back down that Q a bit. All right, next let's go and create another software instrument track to layer up this sound. We're gonna copy down the same pattern, except for this one, we're gonna go ahead and bring in a Steinway grand piano. And of course, we all know what that sounds like. Now on this pattern, I'm just gonna take out these secondary hits, just like this. So we're only gonna get the hits on the ones. So let's take that out, take that out, take that out, take that out, take that out. All right. So we get that right there. Get some pluck on the top end. And then on this piano, we're just gonna go ahead and just filter out a lot as well. All right, then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna create a track stack. So we're gonna select all of those tracks. We're gonna go to create a track stack, and we're gonna manipulate this sound as 1. So on our bus track over here, or the summing track, we're gonna go ahead and bring in, we're gonna go back down to modulation. We're gonna bring in a plugin called Scanner Vibrato. Once again, this is gonna add a lot more movement to the sound. Preset that we want to use here is this one right here, Enhance Electric Piano. And then on top of this, we're going to bring in some chorus just to make it a little bit fuller and wider. Kind of gives it that analog vibe, kind of a little bit detuned as well. And then lastly, we're going to clean up some of that bass that the chorus brought in, or some low end, and just take that out. Gotta keep it clean. Just cleans that out. All right, so there's pretty much our main sound that we're gonna work off of here. So what we're gonna do here is, I'll leave that open. We're gonna go ahead and create a new software instrument track. I'm gonna unsolo this here, and we're gonna bring in Logic's EXS24 sampler instrument. We're gonna go ahead and bring in the I Do It drum kit, and we're just gonna kind of arrange as we go. Now at the end of these first 8 bars, we get sort of like a hi-hat hit just to take us into Big Sean's verse. So let's go ahead and draw that in. Find where that hi-hat is here. It's gonna be this one right here. Just gonna draw those in. And we're just gonna make this nice and loud. Make it a little bit louder here. And then it goes into the verse. So let's go over to the next part. We're going to duplicate these 2 sounds over here. We're going to remove the piano. It's not going to be in it. And then now we just got to add in some more drums. So let's go ahead and duplicate this track over here. And let's bring in the clap. Actually, no, sorry. It's a snare rather. we can find where it is. There it is right there. Just make it a little bit quieter. And it would help if we put it on the right spot. And let's just go ahead and draw those in. Duplicate that over. And I'm just going to go ahead and add in some reverb here, just to kind of add some space. All right, next let's go duplicate that track, and let's bring in the perk sound that happens here. Once again, an 8-bar pattern. All right, so that's where it goes there. I'm just going to pull this down a little bit. It doesn't need to be so loud. All right, next, maybe we can finish off this hi-hat pattern here and just continue it out. So let's go ahead and draw that in right now. I think it was on the C5, yeah. So let's go ahead and draw that in on the top. It's going to go 2 hits here. It's going to go like that. And then we're going to change over to a brush tool, and we're just going to draw in a roll, and it's going to sound like this. Next, let's go ahead and duplicate this track over here. I guess at this point we could bring in our 808. So let's go ahead and bring in that. Go down to the low octave. I'm going to change back to a pencil tool, and let's draw this in. Let's go over to my EXS24 and make sure we're set to mono so the 808s don't overlap. So it's going to go like this. So we're just going to copy that over. We're going to go lower. Then we're going to go back up. Zoom on in. Got to go to the halfway point like that. All right, so let's hear how it sounds played back. All right, so there's our first 808 pattern. It does switch up a little bit. Next, let's go ahead and duplicate this track, and let's draw in our main hi-hat, not the topper hi-hat we had over there. And this one's going to get a little bit fun, a little bit tricky. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to do. All right, so we're going to start off with a brush tool, and we're just going to draw in a 16th note repeat. It's going to go right over here. Maybe it's a 30-second note repeat. It's going to be sort of like a lot of stop and goes in these hi-hats. Let's change this over to a triplet, a 16th triplet. And it's just going to slow down that vibe a little bit more. All right, let's continue putting it on the ones. I think that's got to go double. All right, I think this goes down, a little drop. All right, let's continue on. All right, let's go back to our brush tool. We're gonna go to 30-second notes. All right, there's the first 4 bars. Let's move on to the next 4 bars. I believe it's pretty much the same. So I'm just going to copy this over and we'll work off of that. Except this comes out. It's just going to continue this pattern. And it's going to continue into the next bar as well. All right, let's just say that's the hi-hat pattern right there. On this hi-hat, we're just going to filter out some of the lows. We really want to focus in on the higher. Again, there's not much lows. But we're just going to make it a little bit sort of tinier and tinier sounding and sound like that. Next thing that we're going to do, we're going to go over to our, we're going to put in a delay, sample delay, and we're just going to make this nice and wide. Just kind of spreads those out a bit. All right, next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to create another instance of a drum kit. And we're just going to draw in our kicks, which is going to layer up with our 808. So we're just going to copy that down over there. And we just got to locate our kicks. So I'm just going to take this, find our kick. So our kick and our 808 is clashing a little bit. So I'm just going to take on our 808, we're going to open up an EQ. I'm just going to filter out or cut a little bit of low in here, just to make it a little bit tighter. And I'm going to pull down approximately around the 100 hertz range. I figure that's where the kick is going to be popping. Just going to pull it down here, just about 2 decibels, and it's going to leave space for our kick. So now on our kick, what we're going to do here is we're going to open up an EQ, and we're going to filter out a lot of the lows. As you can see, there's lows here. gonna punch up around that 110 range. And it just finds its pocket right there. All right, so it can sit nicely better together. All right, the next thing that we got to do is create another instance of a drum kit. I'll take this one over here, but I'll take off the channel EQ. And I'm going to draw in yet another perk sound, kind of like another snare sound, if you will. But we're just going to draw that in. On this, I'm also going to add in some reverb. So let's go over to Space Designer. All right, so there is our drum pattern. Took a little longer than expected, but let's go ahead and move on to the next pattern. What we're going to do here is we're going to copy over this same pattern melody. We're going to copy it down over to the piano as well. It's going to come in. So as far as the arrangement goes, the drums do switch up a little bit. So we're going to copy over the snare sound over here. So the snare plays through. Except that it kind of cuts out over there. Next, for our perk sound, we're going to go ahead and just change that up as well. Just going to take these first two hits here, take out the end. For our 808, that pattern is going to switch up as well. So let's go ahead and adjust that right now. So the 808 pattern is going to go like this. So this is going to come out. As you can see, the theme is happening here. And this just changes up. I'm going to move this up, and this is going to drop back down. I think there's actually another perk right over here. And of course, our kicks will follow the 808 as well. So we got to go ahead and take out this section. All right. And then for our hi-hats, we're going to go ahead and copy this over. It's going to be the same hi-hat pattern, but once again, we're going to go ahead and take out these two bars. Everything else stays the same. For this one, we're going to go ahead and just take out this. Nothing's happening at those two bars. And then for this, we're going to go ahead and just duplicate that over. And we're just going to take out the first two hits here. So a little bit of a change up, not too much. All right, so now we're going to do here, we're going to copy this pattern over. We're going to switch it up yet again. Everything carries over from our first drum pattern, pretty much everything. The only thing that comes out is going to be the kick, which I believe this is right over here. And the 808 pattern does switch up as well. So let's go ahead and just draw that in from scratch. It's a completely different pattern. Let's change back to a pencil tool. Going to duplicate this pattern over here. It's going to go something like this. Boom. switch up in the pattern over there. No kick on this one. All right, so for the next section, we're just gonna go ahead and pull this over here. It's not gonna be 8 bars long. We're gonna have a it's gonna be a 6-bar pattern or section. We're gonna go ahead and just change up this melody over here. So let's just change that up. It's gonna go something like this. So it changes up kind of completely. So it's gonna go like this. So this stays the same. We're just gonna add in another sound over here, or another note. And then we're gonna add another note over here, top note. And then it goes nice and quiet for 2 bars. We're gonna stretch that out so it's gonna go quiet. And we're gonna copy that down to these 2 sounds. Boom, and then an 808 is gonna hit. It's gonna copy this over. Just chop that up over there. And the 808 is gonna happen right over here. So we can take this out. And it's gonna be on this note right over here. And then it's gonna go from that into another verse. And then we could just sort of loop out this one over here just so it rounds out the remake. So that is how you put together Lil Wayne's I Do It featuring Big Sean and Lil Baby. Back, relax, and enjoy. Listen to the remake we just put together. Lil Wayne's I Do It featuring Big Sean, Lil Baby. Let's go. Alright, so there is the remake, Lil Wayne's I Do It, Big Sean, Lil Baby. For your Logic users out there, I'm going to go ahead and place this entire session for you guys in the description box below this video. For your non-Logic users out there, I got your back as well. I'm going to go and export all the MIDI stems, audio stems, and of course include the drum kit that you heard in this tutorial. You can find that playback sound kit in the description box below this video. If you do have any questions on this or just want to chat, let's go ahead and talk in the comment section below. And as usual, guys, if you did like this video, remember, thumbs up, share it. We're so close to 300,000. Let's get there. Like I said in my past videos, it's been a while since I said it, but once we hit 300,000, I'll be giving away a couple Native Instruments Complete M32s. So let's hit that milestone, and we'll have a little contest put together for you all. So remember to hit that subscribe button for more good videos like this one. I'll talk to y'all soon. Later, guys. Peace.